Eric, what's our next topic?
Okay. So Switch 2 has been out for about a month, a little bit over. I was gonna say a year, but no, it's not that. I can't even get there, right? How are we feeling about it? What's its strengths? What's its weaknesses? Have you played more than one game, unlike me? Yeah, that's where we're at. I mean, I'll just go first because I don't have a whole lot to say. I'm liking it so far. I've only played Mario Kart, so there's that, which is I got a love-hate relationship with that game. Hey, I did beat a whole lot more knockout rounds this today than I have in a while, so it today was a love day.
Nice.
But yeah, no, I'm gonna be venturing off here probably into some other games soon. I bought Ruffy, so I'm gonna play that.
Nice.
And then from there, maybe going back and playing a little bit of some other stuff from Switch 1 just to see what the how it handles on Switch 2 versus what it did in the original.
Cool.
Yeah. Paul, what are your thoughts?
I was wondering, could this end up becoming my new favorite console of all time? And I don't give that title very just willy-nilly to games or to systems because it has to be really impactful in its own right per that generation, have something special to it. Like, even though Nintendo 64, I know it's not the best system ever. It was my favorite system ever until Nintendo Switch came out because I was that impressionable 12 to 13 age. I was a kid. I went from D-pad to analog, from sprites to polygons, from very limited voice acting to more voice acting, from no rumble to rumble, from 2 players to 4 players, from all these games that I was playing for 11 years at that point in 2D to 3D. The jump per franchise was tremendous, from Mario to 3D, from Star Fox to 3D, from Zelda to 3D, from Donkey Kong to 3D. And the multiplayer component in GoldenEye, nothing was like it. Star Fox 64, Mario Kart 64, Mario Party. Like, I could go on and on, and wrestling games. And there was a lot to it. And even though it didn't have the biggest library, it had the games, it had the sauce, it had the right era for me. Nintendo Switch topped that, which is very impressive because there were systems that came out in between those two that had better, bigger libraries with more third-party support, more Nintendo support, etc. But Nintendo Switch had that secret sauce where here I am in my 30s and it captured the magic all over again. New games ended up becoming the best entries in those franchises ever, in terms of like Breath of the Wild and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Animal Crossing. And I think Super Mario Odyssey also topped it for me. And like the return of some dormant things like Metroid, somewhat dormant, and we got Dread, and then we're getting 4. So like Nintendo Switch did it. Anyways, I know I'm kind of deviating from the basic question. What do I think of Nintendo Switch 2? But like right away, it would be too easy to say, yeah, Nintendo Switch 2 is probably going to be my favorite because it's backwards compatible and it already has access to 5,000 games. I can't just give it the backwards compatibility because new tech will always have the ability to, if the developer puts that in it. Doesn't mean that an SNES can play NES games, but you know what I mean? Like, for quite a while, developers have been able to do this kind of stuff. But dang, all of these Nintendo Switch games are playable, and from the base, in better visuals, in better frame rate, in faster loading, in a key several dozen of them, given patches to actually have even more of a significant leap forward. The parity of Nintendo Switch to third-party games to what the competition has is the closest it's been as it was in the GameCube, PS2, Xbox era, where I think in this case you might have like the Nintendo Switch 2 version of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 is the PlayStation 2 version of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. And then the Nintendo, and then like the Xbox Series PlayStation 5 version of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 is the GameCube and Xbox version of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. Basically, marginal difference. You're still getting the same game, same basic graphics, same basic loading. Yeah, this little bit better, a little bit that better, but like that did not detract in the slightest people from not getting the PS2. I mean, the PS2 sold 159 million units compared to like the 24, 22 million. So in that regard, I think it's not going to matter if the Nintendo Switch 2 builds technically of Street Fighter 6 and etc. have a little bit less fidelity. Like, dude, unless if I want to get mad, unless if I want to get angry and say, yeah, dude, I had to switch HDMI's, in which I did this with I had Street Fighter 6 running on Nintendo Switch 2, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X. Why do I have all three versions? I'm a Street Fighter nut. Don't ask me. But I had all three. And I was playing the Nintendo Switch 2 version, like, gosh, damn, this is good. This is fantastic. I mean, I love Street Fighter so much. And I switched to the next HDMI. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay. So I do see the difference. But boy, when I'm in Street Fighter 6 mode and I'm playing on Nintendo Switch 2, you are not getting any complaints from me in the graphics, in the loading, in the frame rate, no drops, no issues with controls. It is amazing. And when I switch over, okay, I see that there is a difference. And then I'm enjoying it all over again. And then certain stages, okay, there are some more characters in the background, but like, it's not good versus bad. It's great versus slightly better. And that's where you really want to be. It's not this disparity of like, oh, tolerable and awesome. It's really freaking cool and just a little bit more really freaking cool. And that's where Nintendo Switch 2 has been in my third-party experience. And kind of like Nate, I don't know about you guys if you played Split Fiction previously, but Nate, we did not. That game came out only 3 months earlier on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, so I don't even have a point of reference of, and I have friends that worked on Split Fiction, which is really cool. So I knew about that game for a while in advance, and so I'm really happy that I got to play it now. But I'm not even, it's so good that I'm not like, oh man, I wonder how much better it would look if I just had bought this 3 months earlier on PS5. It hasn't even crossed my mind. The game is so good. It looks good. It runs well. It's smooth. It's loading fine. The game is absolutely brilliant, and that's a modern day, like AAA quality game. Split Fiction is totally one of my Game of the Year contenders. Like, I love it, regardless of where you play it. I just happen to say, I'm going to wait 3 months or so because I know this one's going to come on Nintendo Switch 2. And sure enough, then it officially was announced. But like, it's so good that, I mean, probably if I picked it up on PS5 or Xbox Series X or a demo, and then I did that whole HDMI thing, I imagine that I could see a little bit of a difference. But like, it's so minimal probably that I'm not even complaining. I'm here enjoying it. The screen size in portable mode is just fine for me. That 8-inch screen, dude, I'm not complaining about it at all. You know, I picked up my Nintendo 3DS XL a couple of days ago, and I was like, you know what? Dang, this was the biggest that it got. Oh, there's Metroid. Let me see that.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
That woke me up a little.
This was the biggest that we got for quite a while, and by the time we got to that big of a screen, it was already all right. You know, PS Vita, fine, it was all right. I'm not complaining about the screen. I'm not seeing any ghosting effects. Not to diminish anyone that is, but I'm not. Even at the Nintendo Switch 2 experience, I brought my OLED model to see Mario Kart 8 versus Mario Kart World, and I'm like, dude, this is freaking fine. The new LCD screen, just fine. I have noticed that, okay, in portable mode, the battery life isn't as great, but that's the least of my concerns because you've got outlets everywhere next to you to charge. As Steve broke down, you've got battery banks. You know what you can't change? You can't change a system's CPU or GPU, how many teraflops it has, how many gigs of RAM it has. That you can't change. You can always change the storage capacity via micro SD cards or external hard drive or SSD drives, whatever. You can always change battery banks. So I don't really care. I still get 4.5 hours of, okay, I'm playing a little Fast Fusion, a little bit of Split Fiction, a little bit of Street Fighter. Okay, I'm going to bust out a Tetris 99. Okay, so Mario Kart World. Oh, 4.5 hours. dang, I'm finally at that like 1%. That was pretty damn good in my opinion. Although to be fair, I am a more a TV/docked mode does win over for me as a greater percentage of my overall playtime than portable. But no complaints in the build. I'm loving the snap. I'm loving the Joy-Cons clicking in. I feel like Ruffy 2 or Ruffy 2. Ruffy might as well have also been a launch title, kind of, even though it was available for everything at once. I have good faith in the longevity of this platform. I see Nintendo firing on all cylinders yet again. And this is what's kind of making me think maybe it could again become my next new best system ever. Because if they honestly knock out 8 years worth of gems where they give a brand new Zelda that's amazing, a new Mario that's amazing, Donkey Kong I know is going to be a Metroid Prime 4, maybe a Metroid Prime 5 like 4 years from now, or another 2D Metroid. You give a surprise like a Star Fox, another dormant one. You're probably going to have Fire Emblem come back. You're already getting Kirby Air Riders. You're getting Age of Imprisonment, several months from now. Like, it's looking really positive. You've got the third parties that, like I told, Nate made a video of it a few years ago. Certain developers that I spoke to at E3 2017 who had not yet committed to the Nintendo Switch at that E3 said, we are going to be early in Nintendo Switch 2 because of the faith in them. I guess my only real gripe is not that game key cards exist, but that they are not an alternative. They are a replacement, because that storage capacity is something that is one of the things that made Nintendo Switch special, was that for the most part, you had your games on the cartridge. The last disc-based system where you could just pop in a disc and play was Wii U. When PS3 and Xbox One came around, you had to play refrigerator or buy external storage if you wanted to constantly have access to all your games. Wii U was the last pure disc-based system where, boom, you stick it in and you get to play. Nintendo Switch was a modern platform that was the only modern platform of that generation that could play games off the cartridge, unless a developer skimped out. But the system was capable enough. Nintendo Switch 2 is capable enough. I would just like to see developers, publishers rather, be honest with your audiences. Poll them internally, privately, and say, hey, look, we're just gonna tell it to y'all the way it is. We're not gonna beat around the bush. Cartridges cost more. We're losing a lot. We don't want to be greedy. Here is a possible solution: 60 for digital, 60 for game key card, 70 for physical cartridge. Are you willing to pay the $10 more, and we'll include a little leaflet in there for you or a nugget of DLC? Or 70 digital, 70 game key card, 80 physical. How many of you are doing it? And if a great enough a percentage are, give that as an option. I think game key card is fine. Between game key card and digital, honestly, I'm probably going to buy digital, because I don't have the thought of, I'll eventually want to sell this game. If it takes up all my storage space, whether it's 70 gigs of digital or 70 gigs of digital with the game key card, I'd rather not have the game key card and have the convenience factor of, dude, I always have the games. I don't have to get off my couch, walk over to my system 17 feet away, stick the thing in, come back to my couch and sit down. I can just swap over from the couch, right? Call it lazy, call it modern era, being a dad and having a house and having all this other junk that's in the way. Like, I just want to sit from the couch. But I would choose cartridge if I had the choice, because would I rather have different cartridges or eventually have different micro SD XC cards or express cards that I have to take out or play refrigerator? Part of it is first world problems. Oh, woe's me. I don't have access to 70 games at once, in which I'm not going to play 70 games at once. I'm only going to be cycling through several. But if I want to cycle through 15, then it gets problematic. And that's where I'm saying only little gripe is the lack of physical cartridges. I yet have to I have yet to own one Nintendo Switch 2 game cartridge. And that's really weird for me. Even Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, I don't even get that one on cartridge. Finally, next week, I'm going to get Donkey Kong Bonanza on cart. And like, damn, dude, really? This, like 5 weeks into the system, 6 weeks into the system? But like I said, not a problem with the system, more of a cost thing on the publisher side and that kind of thing. Pull your freaking audiences and be honest with them and transparent with them and be like, this is what we would have to charge to make it worth for us. We know that you might even be reading this and saying, oh, poor multi-billion-dollar company making $20 million less. Oh, no. You know what? We're going to throw you a bone, too, and give you some DLC. Do whatever you have to do, but find out. And I've run several polls on my own X account. Now, that's a small audience, though, but a great percentage of people are like, dude, I would pay $10 more or 20 more or 15 more. When you get 30, like, no, that's ridiculous. But do it. Anyways, I think I spoke for too long, but very high on the system for the last several weeks. Loving the direction it's going. I have a lot of faith in what's to come. And yeah, from sales, from new IP, the controls, the Pro Controller 2 being satisfying. Woo! Really no complaints of this new generation so far. The GameCube controller, NSO2, NSO expansion pack, delivering like in a different level. The potential of, I'm just theorizing of a Dreamcast coming, of Sega Saturn coming, of the cool factor of another Sega controller that on the back says made by Nintendo, just to satisfy the 90s kid in me's mind. Like the back of that Nintendo Switch Online Sega Genesis controller says made by Nintendo. Just the things that maybe a younger generation, like if you're 18 right now, wouldn't appreciate it, but if you're mid 30s to recently turned 42 over here, you're like, damn, dude, that's pretty cool, man. I don't know, just it's a fantastic system, and yeah, that's my mic drop, I guess. Ramble a little bit, but I love it.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Gamebird, you want to jump in since Stash is eating and Prime is away? You're muted. Yeah.
I know. It's my new thing.
Yeah.
Quite villainous, I must say. 1 month in, I'm loving the Switch 2. Again, I had been feeling, I feel over the last year, maybe year and a half with Switch 1, that I was kind of ready to move on. And while I was still using it, I found myself using it way less than normal and kind of leaning more into my PS5 or maybe Game Pass. So having the new console is kind of a breath of fresh air. And everything about, the more premium quality, the better performance, the better visuals, reinvigorated that Nintendo passion that's in me. And I've been almost exclusively playing my Switch 2. I don't think I've touched Xbox once since Switch 2 came out. And I think I've only used my PlayStation once for Netflix. I don't think I've played a game on my PlayStation since Switch 2 came out. That being said, my body is ready for a big single-player game. And thank God we're getting one this month, DK Bonanza, which is one of my most anticipated games of the year right now. Unbelievably excited. Obviously, Stash got to go hands-on and gave the game glowing praise from his experience. That hyped me up. And then we got one of the best single-game focused directs ever around this game, which amped me up even more. So I'm ready for this one. I love Mario Kart World. I've had a blast playing it solo. I've had a blast playing it with my friend. I've had a blast jumping into online lobbies here and there, playing with my wife and my kids, family race night and stuff like that. But at my core, I am a single player gamer. Smash and Diablo and Mario Kart are exceptions to that. I've really been waiting for the next big single player game, because that's really what's gonna, take up my time and let me get fully immersed and engrossed in it. So DK is going to be that game for me. It can't come soon enough, but I'm so glad it's coming so soon after the launch of the console. I've mostly been playing Switch 1 stuff. I am on a gnarly pixel art RPG kick, going down that rabbit hole. I had almost finished Sea of Stars on the Xbox Series on Game Pass, but the Xbox has been in my kids' room for the last, I don't know, 5 months now. So I purchased a physical copy for my Switch 2, and I started a new game. I think I'm about halfway, maybe 2/3 of the way through. I almost beat it the first time, and then the kids hijacked the Xbox. So I'm looking forward to finishing that and jumping into Throws of the Watchmaker. And then I picked up Undertale because we got the next chapter in Deltarune on Switch 2. I've never played Undertale before. Really looking forward to trying that one out. Everyone tells me that I'll love it. If you guys in chat have any pixel RPG recommendations, I am here for it. I've played the big ones. So I've played, Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI and Secret of Mana and a lot of those iconic classic games. So if you have anything a little bit outside of the box, like an Undertale or like a Sea of Stars type game, send it my way. But yeah, I've been using those games to tide me over. And I don't know. I'll say this. We won't know how Switch 2 is going to play out until time goes on. What I really want to see from the console is for Nintendo, like we talked about earlier, to take some risks, bring back some dormant IPs, try some weird things like a turn-based Zelda game, bring Star Fox to the modern audience by making it more like a Ratchet and Clank or a Star Fox Adventure 2 type game. Reinvent the wheel like we've seen Nintendo do with Zelda now, like we've seen Nintendo do with Donkey Kong now, like we've seen Nintendo do with Mario Kart now. They are starting a pattern. I want to see this bleed out into other IP, especially dormant ones that maybe they feel have maybe a smaller audience or don't have quite the appeal. Reinvent it, make it exciting again, make it feel new. So that's what I really want to see, as well as strong third-party support. I have a good feeling about this gen. I do feel like we're going to get all that. We just won't know until time goes on. Hey, man, if we get Ocarina of Time remake on this console, if we get Majora's Mask remake on this console, and a new mainline Zelda, and a new 3D Mario that's, again, reinventing the wheel, it's not Mario Odyssey. It's not DK Bonanza. It's doing something bigger and better. It's doing something innovative, something we didn't see coming. They're going to do something wild. Make it in a, I don't know. I want to take Mario to Atlantis or something. I have no idea. But or like interdimensional. But yeah, it's my time's been good. Really looking forward to the big single player stuff. Really anxious to see what they have in store for the holiday this year. And so far so good. I'll keep you posted if that changes. No stick drift. I don't know if it's the stick fix I popped before the show tonight or what it is, but no stick drift. So that's a plus.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Who's next?
Stash, you done eating?
Well, I still have a couple bites, but
No. That's
I'm
we
prepared to
can
go.
finish. Nate, you want to go ahead and then?
Sure. I'll go. Yeah. So, look, it's been a month. I got my Switch 2 right here. I played a wide variety of games on it. From obviously Mario Kart World is the one that I put the most time in. But I played some Hogwarts Legacy, some Split Fiction, some Fortnite on here. I did boot up Splatoon 3 for a little bit. Cyberpunk for a little bit as well. I gotta be completely honest. The only thing about the system that I have any complaint about, because there's really two things. One, the bezels. It'd be nice if the bezels just were smaller, like a modern device today. It's a little weird. I know they'll probably fix it on an OLED model in 4 years, but it's like weird that I have to wait 4 years to have small bezels. It's a minor gripe. Doesn't really matter in the grand scheme, but it would be nice. It is noticeable in some of my games at times. And also, I had this happen, and I'm not even sure how it did, but you guys probably can't see it. But on my SR button here, some of the paint is chipping off. And I don't know why. No one has touched this but me. It stays connected to my system 90% of the time, except when I use mouse mode. And yet some shape is literally, I can see the metal, the bare metal. It's like chipping off. It's weird. It didn't happen to my second pair of Joy-Cons, which my kids have used. So those have been abused more than these, and that hasn't happened. So I don't know. I don't know if I've just been unlucky or something, but either way, I honestly have loved every moment with the system. There hasn't really been too much for me to complain about. Even like the battery life, I knew going in 2 hours is what I expected, is what Nintendo said. I haven't had any game that drains it in 2 hours, but I've definitely seen 2 hours and 40 minutes with certain games, and to me that's plenty of time. I'm going to be honest, as a father, me getting 3 straight hours to play a game is very difficult, especially in handheld mode, because that means I'm on the go. I'm doing something. I am somewhere. I'm not going to get to play it for just 3 hours. In dock mode, sure. Yeah. Sometimes you can get a long session in, but then I'm in dock mode, so I don't care. So the battery life hasn't really bothered me. Like the biggest thing is obviously, hey, when I am done in handheld mode, remember to charge the damn thing. Like that's something you always got to remind yourself, because if you do forget to charge it, you might regret it the next day when you go to play it. But honestly, everything about the system has been exactly what I expected it to be. I thought it was going to be a bigger, better Switch. That's exactly what it is. I thought it was going to get AAA game support. That's why I think the 2K announcement was so important, because that's the first AAA game to get announced since the Switch 2 Direct. Believe it or not, if you go through everything, there hasn't been a single AAA game announced for it that wasn't part of that Direct until 2K26. Now, we kind of figured 2K was coming. Of course, it's been a big supporter of Switch the whole time, every year. But it still was like, yeah, but that's the first one that didn't wait for a Direct. Like we keep thinking all these other companies might wait for it. They didn't wait. They said, no, we're going to include it with our normal marketing for the game. Yes, please. Everyone else take notes. This is what you should be doing. If 2K can do it, you can do it too. Include Switch 2 with your marketing. It's not difficult. Treat it like it's a normal platform. Thank you. So, all that to say, the only thing that feels a little weird is we're a little bit over a month out. Nothing new is released. And that feels weird. Literally nothing. Every game that we're going to be talking about in this show is either an indie game that's a Switch 1 game that just happens to play on Switch 2 like Ruffy, or it's the launch games. It's been a month. Nothing has come out. Now, Donkey Kong Bonanza is coming up, and that's exciting. But it is a little weird that we're a month in and literally nothing's launched since day one. For most people, that's not going to be a big deal. Not everyone can get it day one. People are still trying to get it. It's sold out in many areas. But it is just a little weird to me that, like, yeah, nothing else new has come out. I hope that this is just a launch anomaly, and we're really just need that Direct, and we really just need third parties to start treating it normal. Like I'd like to be excited for Borderlands 4 coming up, but still don't know when it's coming to Switch 2, right? We obviously know when NBA is coming out, so that's cool. We know when Madden's coming out. That's going to be coming out next month. But that's next month. Like, we had Donkey Kong. Like, I was thinking about this for a bit. Like, we had Donkey Kong Bonanza coming out next week. Cool. When's the next game come out after that? Dragon Drive? Like, third-party games. This is supposed to be the platform of third-party games for Nintendo. Where are they? They're not here. A lot of this is just probably the early blues. A lot of companies don't have to have kits. Maybe a lot of companies are waiting for that Direct. Maybe they got marketing plans with the Direct. Could be shadow drops coming. Could be a lot of things. But that's like the only thing that feels weird is I'm a month out. Like when people talk about, well, you have all this stuff to play. I'm like, okay, sure. And 90% of what you're talking about I had to play is what I could have played on Switch 1. So forgive me for wanting things actually to come out for the system. So that those are the complaints. Like just for some reason the library just isn't growing very fast, which sucks. And obviously I had like for some reason the paint chipping on one of my Joy-Cons. I don't really know why, and the bezels. Now that's a lot of complaints for a Nintendo YouTuber who actually thinks that this system has the capability to become my favorite system of all time. It took me the entire Switch generation to make the decision if Switch was a bigger deal to me than the Super Nintendo. That's been my favorite platform forever. And that had full third-party support. Switch did not. And that was kind of like my holdup with trying to put Switch over the top, was it just didn't have the breadth of third-party games. But ultimately, having all of Nintendo's efforts on one system for the first time ever kind of pushed it over the finish line towards the end. So I Switch is my favorite platform of all time, followed by the Super Nintendo, probably followed by the PlayStation 2, and maybe the Xbox 360. I kind of debate between that and the PS3 sometimes. So that's cool. So I think Switch 2 has that potential. But right now, like we're a month in, and a lot of it's just potential. Everything I played is great. Feels great. Love it. I have stuff to play. It's not going to complain that I have anything. I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy right now. I'm going to beat that. I'm going to beat Split Fiction with the wife. I'm enjoying everything. And I will say that as someone who does have other places to play, like PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and has access to this stuff, I don't feel like I'm demonstrably behind any other platform that I play on. And I think that's maybe the best thing I can say about this thing a month in is we're a month in, and whether I'm playing on Switch 2, my Xbox, or my PC, it all kind of just feels the same while I'm gaming.
Sure.
And that's important because Nintendo hasn't felt that way in a very long time. And I don't know if it's going to keep feeling this way as PlayStation 6 and the new Xbox and new PC stuff comes out. But for right now, a month in, I'm like, damn, dude, you're not really compromising a hell of a lot to be on Switch 2. And that's awesome. Probably haven't felt that way since like GameCube with Nintendo, to be completely honest. And even then, you know, you just weren't getting full third-party support. That's what you were sacrificing then. Here, obviously, I'm hoping third-party games are coming. I know Paul's talked in the past about how he knows about a bunch that are coming. I know about a bunch that aren't even announced yet. But it's still like, well, it's almost more frustrating that I know and they're not announced because it's like, where the hell are they? You know, it's like some of these that I know about, like, there's no real reason to be holding back. And even the public ones, guys, Assassin's Creed Shadows, it leaked through a rating. We know it's coming. Ubisoft needs games to sell. So, like, why are we waiting to hear about it? You know, like this period here where we had this giant lull, you could have dropped Shadows in that period. People would have picked it up because there hasn't been anything that's released. Like, forget about trying to compete with Nintendo games. Nothing else has come out that's specifically for Switch 2. So, yeah, I honestly am really impressed with the system. I love the way the games play. I love the way the games feel. I'm excited about games that are coming. I'm really excited for Donkey Kong Bonanza. It looks utterly fantastic, but that can't be part of my 1 month look back. I look back at 1 month and I'm like, incredible launch, cricket sense, but damn, it still feels just as brand new as it did the day I got it. And that's what's really cool is every time I pick it up, I still can't believe this is what I'm playing on. Because I'll go up into my room and I'll pull out my Zelda Switch OLED that's hidden in a drawer for my kids. And I pull it out and I'm like, okay, this takes me back with the Zelda. But then I turn it on and I'm like, what the fuck was I doing gaming on this thing the last 10 years? Like, this thing feels so dated. This ancient.
I instantly, the moment I booted up my Switch 2, I felt like I never want to touch my original Switch or OLED for that matter again. And I agree with you, Nate. I do feel like it's felt like a drought, and I feel like the reason is that it launched with Mario Kart, and I know you're like me, Nate, where you much prefer that immersive single player experience, and so Mario Kart's fun to jump in, do like after you get through that launch day, those couple launch days of like hype and excitement, then it's like you kind of want to play something else, but when you can play with friends or family, you jump into Mario Kart. And I think that's what has been kind of missing. I feel like if it had launched with Bonanza or a 3D Mario or obviously a Zelda or a Monolith game for that matter, we wouldn't be feeling that like what should we be playing, or we wouldn't be designating the console to playing better experiences of Switch 1 games.
Yeah. And I'm going to throw this super chat real quick because it's specific to what I was talking about with Jorge here. He says, what's the difference between your current perception on game releases on Switch 2 compared to the early months of Switch 1? We had a month between Breath of the Wild and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe back then, so what changed? Well, for starters, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was nothing I was ever even looking forward to back then because I already played the hell out of it on Wii U. That said, we had new games releasing 6 days after the system came out. That's the difference. We had Master Blaster Zero. We had Voez. Human Resource Machine on the 16th. Little Inferno, World of Goo. Obviously, those are some old games coming back then. And then the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus on March 17th. March 23rd, we had, not March 23rd. Yeah, no, New Frontiers, Founding Pioneers, Othello, Has Been Heroes, Snake Pass, Romance of the Three Kingdoms. April 4th, here we are a month later. Lego City Undercover coming over to Switch, right? Has Been Heroes, Room of the Night, Graceful Expansion. Like, games were coming out every week on Switch 1 at the beginning of the generation. That's the difference. That's not happening on Switch 2. If you go to the eShop, you see all these new releases. They're Switch 1 games.
Right.
Switch 2 games.
But even if they had it on the Switch 1, the launch game was a 100+ hour adventure.
Well, sure.
That you could easily
The single player experience obviously is something that could tide you over longer, I think, than a multiplayer one, unless you're just addicted to rankings online.
Sure.
And even then, Mario Kart to me is not something I'm going to sit down and play for 10 hours straight. That's just not how it's going to go. And so, yeah, you could argue if they launched with Bonanza, maybe I'd feel different, but I still would have felt the drought because I don't have anything right now besides if I'm being honest with myself, I'm looking forward to Bonanza. And then the next two games I'm looking forward to are Madden and NBA 2K. Why? Because I don't know when the fuck anything else is coming out.
Hey, we got a game coming out, I think this month that I'm looking forward to, the new AI Somnia Files game. But I love visual novel type stuff, so I know for most people that's not an exciting announcement. For me, I think those games kick ass and highly.
No, yeah, I actually forgot about that game. I forgot about that one. But yeah, and by the way, I'm not saying there aren't good games coming out. They could be Switch 1 games, and I'll play them on Switch 2. Ruffy, right? Like I bought Ruffy, the Switch 1 game. I'll play it on Switch 2. It's fine. So I'm not saying like games aren't coming out. I'm just mean like games specifically for like you buy a Switch 2 to play these games. And they're just not coming out at a great pace right now. That said, I think the pace is going to pick up pretty quick. By the time we get to the end of summer, I think games are going to start coming out pretty hard and fast. But that's still, me just waiting until that happens. So whereas like Switch kind of just felt like games were coming out all the time, whether it was indie, whether it was not. Because remember, the big thing with Switch, this is what people forget, it wasn't backwards compatible. So any game that dropped on the eShop was a new game for that system. That's not the case now. This is backwards compatible. So all these new games that come out, they're not necessarily there because of Switch 2. So that's the difference. If you were just wondering and how I view it. By the way, I know it's like an inherently negative take. It's more so just, I'm not really even being critical here. I think it's just strange. It's a weird feeling that I didn't feel with Switch. That said, I'm super stoked about the potential. And a month in, nothing about the system feels rushed or like not well thought out. Everything's feeling great for the most part. So I'm just gonna leave it at that because I could go on and on about gripes or go on and on about positives, because if you guys want just one more positive take, it's a generational leap, baby. Play your Switch 1. Go play Hogwarts Legacy on Switch 1. Hop on over to Switch 2. Get the fuck out of here. This is the kind of leap we used to experience. That I haven't felt this in a while. I haven't felt it since I went from PS3 to PS4. It's been a while. Been a while since I felt a leap like this. And yeah, Nintendo's behind, and it's 5-year-old tech, and whatever other bullshit you want to utter. I don't give a fuck. When I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy on my Switch 2, I don't care that it's actually better on PS5. I went on the PS5 version, hop back to my Switch 2. Didn't really feel like I was missing a whole lot. That's just from a gameplay and visual perspective. It's fine. It's exactly what I said it needed to be. Good enough. So I'm there. I'm good. I think we throw it over to the stash man now.
Mhm.
Mr. Eating burgers on stream.
Hey,
And drinking
Dude, that
RC
burger was so
Cola.
good.
Son of a bitch. Bastard.
Man, it was so good. I don't know what to say, man.
I'm sure it was.
God. All right, so Switch 2, yeah, we're a little over a month now. And I've really enjoyed it. One of the things specifically has been the Switch 1 games. Because the backwards compatibility is unlike anything we've seen before. There's no other console where we've seen this, where you can literally put in any of your Switch 1 cartridges, your digital games, and there's a good chance it's going to perform better. And there's also a good chance that the frame rate is going to be drastically improved, or the resolution is going to be boosted. So I've said this before, but it's been like a game within a game, because not all the games have been tested. I like to think that I have a lot of deep cuts in my library that are not on everyone else's radar. And these are games that I still need to test out on Switch 2 to see how they perform. For me, when it comes to the library, it's I've been suffering a bit from analysis paralysis. I don't know if you guys ever suffer from that when choosing what game you're going to play next, but it sucks, because it's like, whatever game you play next, especially if you're the type of person who will not start a different game until you beat it, that's a commitment, right? So you got to choose that game, and that's the game you're playing, however long it is. And then I'm reviewing it, and then it's on to the next game. So I feel like there's a ton of games to play, because there's games on my radar now that you could say initially were on my radar when they first came out for Switch 1, and the performance wasn't great. And I've now found out that, X game is performing excellent now on Switch 1. And I hadn't played it yet. So now it's like, not only do I have all these Switch 2 games, but now I have these Switch 1 games that I may already own, or you can buy them for super cheap now. Like, especially with the latest eShop sale. Like, have you guys played Mortal Shell?
Mortal Shell.
No, it's
No.
one I've always been curious about, but
Yeah.
I've never played it.
See, this is what I'm talking about right there. It's a Souls game I've always been curious about, right? And it's performing way better now on Switch 2. I picked up the complete edition, I think for $3.99, $4. You know what I mean? Like, those are the type of deals I'm getting for Switch 1 games that are performing better now. It's just like, dude, there's so much to play. That's where I'm at. Michaela went out of town. I think it was a week after the Switch 2 came out, and she has her Switch 2 as well. And I said, hey, babe, take the camera with you, and let's test this out, right? Let's do the game chat. She was going to Oregon, and we did. I played against Michaela and her dad in Mario Kart. We did the game chat. Dude, it was so much fun. Such a good time. Her dad was talking shit the whole time. Well, not the whole time, but he was definitely talking some shit. And I'm just sitting there smiling, laughing. But it was really fun to test out the game chat and like still be able to, I guess, to see her and hang out and play some video games together. So my experience so far with game chat has been very positive. I think it's very cool. We all grew up in the era where couch co-op was the only thing. you invite friends over and that's what you do. You play video games. When N64 came out, you got to invite 2 more friends over because now you're playing 4 players, right?
Mhm.
And so, I miss those days, right? Those were special. And I think the fact that Nintendo's trying to recreate them with game chat is really cool. And I did feel that way playing Mario Kart from, across the world. That was a lot of fun. So big W for game chat. The way I kind of see it is like, if you look at Switch 2, it's almost like by default, it's going to surpass Switch 1. Like if Switch 1's your favorite console, how could Switch 2 not be your favorite console? Since it plays all of the Switch 1 games and it plays them better.
Unless your favorite game is Labo, of course.
Of course. That would be the main reason for sure.
Or if you take impact factor into part of it, like
yes,
like N64, like I said, GameCube was better in quite a few regards than N64, but N64 had the greater impact factor, and that kind of weighed in it for me. And Nintendo Switch.
That's a great point, Paul.
And then Nintendo Switch 2 will probably be better in most regards, kind of like how Tears of the Kingdom does do a lot of things better than Breath of the Wild, but not in everything. They are different games. I, for instance, still prefer vertical traversal by the ease of access of Rivali's Gale in Breath of the Wild. And that simple gameplay dynamic is different enough that is an edge that Breath of the Wild will always have over Tears of the Kingdom for me, despite the latter game having more. And Nintendo Switch 2, bigger screen, faster clicking on Joy-Con, bigger Joy-Con, better analog sticks, better and bigger and more sturdy kickstand, but impact factor. Like I went from having a Game Boy Color and an N64 to a Game Boy Advance and a Nintendo GameCube, from a Wii and a DS, from a Wii U and a 3DS to just a Nintendo Switch. The first time in 30 years since 1985 where it was just NES. And that brought about a lot. And it was instantly, I don't have a Nintendo Switch next to me right now, but this thing right here came with 2 controllers. It was its own power source. It was its own TV, and it was a 2-player device out of the box. If I compared it to what else was on the market, you would have to bring your PlayStation 4 or your Xbox One with an HDMI cord, with a cord that goes to the wall, with a TV, with a system, and a controller. And that's all what you got in this one little thing. And that is brilliant, because even though tabletop mode probably is most people's least played, that was the power of Nintendo Switch. And it was cartridge, thus you did not have to, for the most part, eat into your space. And like that impact factor. Now, I think Switch 2, mouse mode, we have yet to see just, wow, I didn't think of that. That's going to be an exciting, when we see that, I didn't think of that. Oh my gosh, that's epic. That's going to create impact too. But I think you guys are right. Like, yeah, unless a Nintendo totally drops the ball, which I don't think they're going to do, their next Mario game is probably going to be as good, if not a little bit better than Mario Odyssey. Maybe a little less good, but still pretty freaking damn good. And obviously look better. Their next big Zelda game, let's say it's not as big or as impactful as Breath of the Wild. It's probably going to be really freaking amazing, 9.7 out of 10 kind of Metacritic kind of scoring game. That, yeah, like if they last for 8 years, and then they uncover some past gems like a new Wave Race or new whatever, a new IP here and there, what's to make it not the next best system ever? Except for maybe impact factor? I don't know. We'll see. It's, even if it doesn't win in every category, like, you're gonna love it. I think if you're a Nintendo fan, you're gonna be eating good for another several years.
Yeah, that's why I see it too. And like you said, we could factor in things like impact, nostalgia, of course, as well. With N64, like you said, the impact was massive, and you had to be there to experience it.
Yeah.
It was extremely special, and it's a core memory for me. That's something that will stick with me forever. Never forget what it was like. So, yeah, there's all those things to factor in. I I think if I remove impact, right, with just strictly speaking about the Switch, and just look at it from that perspective, it's like, okay, so all the games that I loved on Switch are running better on Switch too. And some of the games I really loved, like Breath of the Wild, right? Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Odyssey, Link's Awakening, Echoes of Wisdom, 3D World, Pokemon, all the big ones, right? They all got free updates and they run better than ever. So that's kind of how I look at it. Is like I don't see how the Switch 2 can't, for me, and that's just for me. I don't see how it can't surpass the Switch 1, or I don't see how it really hasn't already, because I get to play all the games I love but better, and now I'm getting new games too. And obviously, we're gonna have years and years of getting new games. So, yeah, I'm very happy with it, guys. I feel like there's not enough time in the day to spend with it. Like when I go to bed every night, I'm like, can I squeeze out any more hours, or should I put myself to sleep so I can be
I've been
productive
asking
tomorrow?
myself that every
Yeah.
night this week.
Yeah,
No
dude.
joke.
Every night, I swear to you, since Switch 2's come out, I feel like there's not. Before, I felt like there wasn't enough hours in the day, because that's a natural feeling, but still super productive to get everything done and then some. But since it's come out, it's felt different. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I really feel like there's not enough time now. Like,
I
I
think
want to
part
spend
of
more
it
time.
is, I think part of it too is just how good that plastic feels on that Pro 2 controller.
Dang.
I know.
That, like, I just want to touch it a little before I go to bed, no joke, I've fallen asleep twice now since the launch of Switch 2 with the Pro controller on my chest on the couch. It's happened twice. It's never happened to me before. Obviously playing Sea of Stars, there's reading. So a couple nights where I'm up past my bedtime on a work night, I wake up with the music playing in the background and the controller, some drool running down my chin. What the hell happened? Type thing.
I'm telling you guys, I said it after the Switch 2 experience. Element 115, man. Bob Lazar.
Dude, and have you guys
That's
picked
what
up
the
an old Pro
controller's made out
controller?
of. Yeah, I
Since?
have it right
They
back
feel
here.
horrible. Feels
Yeah.
horrible now. They're ruined.
It's Element
Ruined
115.
that controller for me. But that's how it feels like with like the PS4 controller, which I used to love. Like, just feels like complete ass now to me. So,
Yeah.
it's always
Yeah.
a good sign. It means they did something right.
Yeah, I'm really happy with everything. There's really nothing I'm not happy with. And I'll say this too, like when I got my PS5, yeah, day one I had it, and I would have told you the same thing about PS5. There's even to this day, I know people complain all the time about, there's not enough exclusives on PS5. And whether that's true or not, the point is, like, I've had a great time with it. Great time. Many of my PS4 games ran significantly better on PS5, especially the ones that got the actual updates. But I've had a great time with it. I don't have anything bad to say about it. So that's PS5 and Switch 2. I don't have anything bad to say about it. Nothing but great times, There's things you can nitpick. DualSense, I wish the battery lasts longer. But you know what? Like, again, I don't nitpick. Life's too short to complain about bullshit like that.
Yeah. I feel like hardware is it's always really exciting at launch and stuff. And we could talk about, all the glowing praises of, Switch 2's advancements from Switch 1, better controller, better visuals, more power, faster load times, all that great stuff, voice chat. But I mean, it's like we've discussed on the podcast before. At the end of the day, it's the games that define the generation.
Yeah.
I think Switch 2 is off to an exciting start with Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza and a new Hyrule Warriors game that looks prettier and looks to be running better than any Nintendo Warriors game has in the past. But we haven't even gotten to the super heavy hitters yet. What is this? What does this cycle have in store for Zelda, Mario, Smash Brothers, Animal Crossing, the Monolith games, big third party exclusives, Square exclusives? Are we going to get some new HD 2D exclusives? So ultimately, we'll have to wait and see. I agree with Nate. I do feel like this first month has been a little slow with the lack of a big single player experience. Obviously, that's excluding games like Hogwarts, third party stuff like Hogwarts and Cyberpunk. Talking about like a new single player exclusive, that creates a little bit of a slow burn. But I mean, to have that big game 1 month after launch, essentially, that's a quick turnaround, and I'm really excited.
It is. This is an exciting time because, like Nate, like you mentioned in Game Bird's collab bid that we did, everything's on the table. And for me, like, this is the most exciting time, the quiet before the storm. And I know for a lot of people, they're like super antsy, and every day they're upset that there's no direct. And it's like, bro, this is a fun time, man. Like, we got to enjoy this because soon they're going to start announcing everything and we're going to know everything. And then all you're going to do is impatiently wait for more information about what they've announced. This is fun right now. The element of the unknown.
And you know what's also right now? Right now, by not having games to buy, you don't have anything to complain about the games costing too much. So there you go.
Yeah, right.
If you want to complain about $10 being more, here's no games for you. Try complaining about that. Now you don't have anything to complain about. There.
I know, man.
Problem solved. Oh, I can't spend $10 more on a game. Fine, no game for you. Oh,
yeah,
you save your money.
I think Paul Gale's found his outlet
like
for him to bitch about the haters on the internet. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Oh, it's great.
Anytime I try to provide logic to someone, like,
I know.
How often do you get a coffee? Well, every day. And do you like your coffee? Yeah. How much do you spend? I don't know, $7, $8. Do you get it 7 days a week, 5 days a week? About 5 days a week. So you spend $40 a week on coffee. I could spend $10 on a 2-pound tub of coffee to last me 3 months. How much
did you spend on
your coffee in 3 months? $40, $160, $480. So you mean to tell me that you can't sacrifice a little bit of your coffee quota
Paul's
to compensate for your video game complaint being up 12.5% for one game in which you only buy one game every 3 months anyways, yet you're complaining also about there not being enough games that you would just complain about the cost being up more.
Now, let me just say, Paul's
ready to judo chop
Paul,
people online right now.
This is the same logic. You and I like use this. We have the same logic that we apply. I've been saying the same shit too, and I get the same kind of response as you're getting, and I see some of them because you're in my feed, and I'll read it. I'll just shake my head, like, well, what is this world coming to, man? Like, how do you not understand this? Yeah, Paul's exactly right, guys. Again, look at your finances. Look at where your money is going. That was one thing I talked about a lot with Switch 2 Welcome Tour, with it being $10, and suddenly that like struck a chord with so many people, to where they're like, "Oh, I'll never do that." It's like, bro, you spend more than $10 daily at the drive-through window. So get the fuck out of here with that.
I think
Look at your finances. Go to the grocery store. I buy coffee the same way Paul does. I don't go spend $5-10 on this Starbucks bullshit. That's honestly, look, I'm sorry. It's stupid. Okay. You have to look at your money better. Okay. Like there's better ways to go about life. That is not the way.
But I like Starbucks.
You may not like my delivery on it, but it's the truth. And if you practice this, what Paul just said too, the things I've been saying about when it comes to money and how you look at it and the prices of games and how you break out the entertainment cost for real, like this is, it's not that hard. Okay. It's simply not that hard.
I think there's a balancing act that has to happen. Think about budgeting, think about your finances. At the same time, it's good to treat yourself every once in a while, you know? If you love Starbucks, if you love what's a Starbucks drink? Salted caramel coffee. You love your iced salted caramel or whatever, frappuccinos or whatever. Treat yourself every once in a while, but don't make it a 7 days a week, 5 days a week thing.
Don't make it a way of life.
You know, you want to go out and have that nice steak dinner, you should do that. It's good for you to treat yourself every once in a while. Video games is a way of treating yourself. That being said, obviously it's never fun when prices go up. I don't think we need to celebrate it, but yes, I think there's a little bit of a balance. It goes a little bit every ways, but budgeting and financing is very important, and it's a skill that most people don't have, sadly.
Oh my gosh. I'm just gonna say, spend your money however the fuck you want. I don't give a shit. You want to buy that coffee at Starbucks every day? Go for it. You want to? What was the analogy Paul was using? That people blow their money out. Was it the coffee one? I don't know.
It was the coffee one.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Spend it on what you want. It's just one of those. Keep in perspective that the things that you spend money on, you're bitching about other things that you can't afford.
I'm sorry. There's someone with a nickel in their account who's going to go overdraft tomorrow morning because you told them to just spend it. So be careful.
Fine. I could clean myself in the shower in 5 minutes.
Maybe you don't want to spend.
I need to spend 20 minutes in the shower every day. You could shave off those 15 minutes of the shower and multiply that many gallons times this many, boom, and there goes your money. There's ways to cut everything. There's ways to manage everything. But the biggest thing is like the people that will condemn those are like, how dare you shill for a company that this, like, dude, you probably have better internet than you need. You probably buy more shoes more often than you need. You probably have more chips than you need. You probably use more shampoo than you need. You probably don't squeeze out the very last little bit of the toothpaste. You probably don't let the razor get too scratchy. You probably toss it out too early. You probably
This is so gonna get clipped.
You probably don't look at the weekly.
You're like, they're telling us to squeeze out, to cut open and squeeze out toothpaste so we could buy dog.
Bro, every week.
And people will say, I shouldn't have to. Well, that's life. Life is about making everything work in as many regards as possible. Like, if your thing is comic books and you have a huge comic book obsession and you want to feed that comic book obsession, you might have to say, what's my secondary thing? Buying chips every day. What do you like more? I shouldn't have to choose. Guess what? You kind of got to choose a little bit in life because you can't juggle everything.
It's part of life.
You want to juggle everything.
Yeah. And your corporate masters own you. There's nothing you could do about it.
I love it, dude. You can tell there's a lot of this pent up, gotta get this out because of a lot of people trash talk on the internet, and then you like check out their profiles and they're buying all this dumbass shit all the fucking time. You're like, oh, look, you're bitching what I spend my money on. What the fuck are you talking about, man? Like, you spend on what you want, I'll spend it on what I want. Hey, we're all good over here. That's the way
people complaining about $10 up thing are people like, oh yeah, I buy a $700 statue of Ryu. Oh no, I don't want to spend $10 more. Oh, I got $500 statue of Samus. Oh no, Mario Kart World is $10 more.
Flexing.
Go buy your statue. Let me see your shoes right now. How new are they? Mm-hmm.
Everyone lift your feet. Everyone lift your feet.
Let me go grab my new Giannis NBA kicks quick.
Where
I
is
know
your
I need
air
to change
conditioner
shoes
set to
before
in
I
the
embarrass
summertime?
myself.
Are you chilling at 71 degrees or are you chilling at like 79 degrees in your house? How
60.
is your DWP bill looking like?
Yep.
Mine's looking terrible, but I keep mine locked at 78. I won't sleep otherwise. Sorry, guys. I'm willing to pay a little extra to sleep
66 over
comfortably.
here. I keep it down, baby. See, this is the choice I make, but I'm also not out there bitching about $10 more for video games. I will say I don't want prices to go up, but yeah, if I want to buy it, I'm gonna buy it. It is what it is. I'm fortunate in life that I can do that.
You guys already know. I've already said this before. Coming from the finance, Paul, I know you know finance, but coming from working in mortgage and seeing everyone's credit reports. Now, look, I know it's probably a thing people don't like to talk about, but let me just say, I see how everyone spends their money. I know the average debt to income ratio, and dude, it's very bad. It's very bad here in the United States. Let me just say that.
Can I go off one last time? Tino Ame made a comment, and I resonate with this one. You see this? Now, if you watched, I've gotten some weird comments, particularly when Nate drops the short. I'm not going to mention any names. I don't even know the name, but get a haircut. What's with the guy's haircut? I've seen one person multiple times over when Nate would drop the shorts of my Nintendo Switch 2 Countdown, their direct. One dude was keep on talking about the haircut. I don't know. It's not the best haircut. But you know what? I have given myself this haircut every 2 months since September 2016. My wife bought me a $17 hair clipper set, and I have given myself this haircut every 2 months. Somebody did the math, or somebody was like, dude, sensei, because I think it was like my students that I was talking to. That's like $40 a haircut. Hold on. That's like 8 years of haircuts or something like that, 9 years of haircuts every 2 months. You save thousands of dollars. Yeah, that's where I made my cut. I've gotten 2 haircuts by someone else in the last 9 years. Once for a friend's wedding because one of the groomsmen cut hair, and once with my son. The two of us went to a barber, and I was like, I'll join you for this one. And I spent $65 for the 2 of us or something like that. Otherwise, this haircut, I've done my own, and sometimes I mess up a little bit, but that's where I've saved. And you add it up, and you're like, dang, that's how much it is. No, man, I said last thing. You get me going. I'm going to go a little bit too long. I said one last thing. Find where you can cut. And don't think of it as, why should I have to? No, that's life. Life is making it work.
That's how you get ahead. That's how you get ahead in life.
Oh, man. Okay. I
anybody signed up for the podcast for. Like, don't
anyone want to give a final message before we move on?
Sure.
Haircut analogy.
Anyone?
Comments are great.
It's your topic next, anyways.
I don't have a final message. I just want to make sure.
Nah.
We're good. Yeah, it's a good way. It's good to leave it there. I think it's good to leave it. Yeah. Cool. So 1 month of Switch. 2. Cut your own hair. Stop buying coffee.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You become a millionaire.
Deal with
right.
it. Deal with it.
Don't shower anymore. Cut your own hair. Make your own coffee.
Recycle your shower water.
There you go.
Don't
Make
eat
coffee out of the shower
one meal
water.
a day.
Make coffee out of the shower water. It's like that Seinfeld episode where Kramer washed his vegetables in the shower.
Yeah, he has the garbage disposal installed in the drain. So good.